As soon as I show the actual game, because I'm bad at my job. There we go. We have. Okay, so we have our yellow Zerg player, Probe.
And in the northwest corner, we have our purple Protoss player, Shadver.
Wow. That's right, everybody. I'd like to remind you that this is a best of 5. This is game 1. And actually, Shadver has generally had... I think the first time he played, he crushed Probe pretty hard. And then the second series, I believe Probe took that one. So I'm actually quite excited to see where these two are at this point.
Yeah, Probe was saying he feels pretty comfortable in this matchup right now.
I know. And he was saying he was facing off against a lot of Diamond players, too. So imagine that's a good sign for him. For any Zerg fans out there as well. But what do you think?
Me? Or?
Yeah.
You. I haven't... I know he's been having some troubles with Protoss. So I'm not sure. But he said he has won. He has been practicing and winning against Shadver. So I think he's pretty confident going into this, and I think that will really help him with his games today. And whether or not he wins, I think he should at least do well.
Okay. So Texter, what are you thinking of this so far?
So I've not actually taken the time to go back and watch the VODs of these two historically. So I'm completely in the dark with this, but based off of their earlier discussions and based off the scout timing and the fact that he's going with a spawning pool first, I think Protoss is going to be a little behind economically, especially if there's an expand that comes out from Shadver. But it doesn't look like it, so it looks like this should be a pretty even matchup. Should see a nice long game out of this.
Yeah, it looks like we're actually looking at a Stalker opening from Shadver. This is not necessarily indicative of anything in terms of aggression. You can actually transition from this into basically anything. So standard obviously would be some kind of fast expand given this opening, but and the fact that Probe does actually have a drone just kind of sitting in there seeing all of this. So if he wants to try doing anything twitchy, he's gonna give it away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's...
Oh, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think that having the drone in here, while he's losing mining time, it's providing a lot of really nice information for him, especially seeing how late the expansion is for Shadver, and then being able to block it with his drone.
And I have to tell you, the only thing that's slightly more frustrating than blocking a hatch for the Probe is having in the other direction for the Protoss player, because he's like, screw you, this is my job.
Yeah.
And that is definitely the thought process. Now, the way this is ending, however, is the same and feels frustrating for both players.
Yeah.
Looked away, crap, the Probe died. Looked away, crap, the drone died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does get that Nexus down before too long.
Yeah, and I do definitely like that clutch play. I mean, he saw that the drone was just a tiny bit out of position and planted it real fast, and then went and killed the drone.
So Shadver's opening up a Stargate.
Okay.
So I imagine it's probably going to be Oracles.
Yeah. And this is, interestingly enough, pretty much the same gas timing that you would actually use for DTs nowadays, since unlike in the olden days, the DT shrine no longer costs 250 gas, so the build timings for it are actually identical to that of the Stargate, which enables you to be sneaky, especially in PvP.
So we do
you see those two gases and you don't know what's coming.
Yeah. Ling speed is on its way, and it's like 3/4 done. So,
yep. And we also see the third
that
hatch coming down from Protoss as well.
So actually, looking overall, other than the Stargate, is a pretty standard setup, and really from both players. So he's going Oracle first. So this is not for Fast Phoenixes. Might be going into that a little bit later, but it's going to require that he gets some damage done with this, especially since Probe is going for more of an economic setup, so he's going to want to slow that down as much as he can. Yeah. How successful do you think this will be?
There's not much at the well, there's one Spore Crawler, so at the Naturals, and if he only makes the one Oracle, then he should be fine. He shouldn't lose too much, if anything at all.
There isn't one. There isn't a spore crawler at the main though. So I mean,
No.
if he and it looks like he's going to bypass the natural and go directly after the main. So the Oracle might actually get quite a few drone kills out of this.
And he's getting some good scouting information too by seeing that third.
Probe isn't really reacting to it. I was almost expecting him to maybe consider moving the queen, but he's not really. I don't think he noticed, unfortunately, that this is happening. And here comes the attack. So there's two things you can do with this. You can control the Oracle and focus down the drones, which is what he's doing here, or you can try and focus down the queen, which the Oracle will win in a one-on-one fight. But he's actually gotten quite a bit of work out of this. He just needs to not lose it. Oh.
But 6 drones.
That's not a bad pickup.
It's not a bad pickup. He would have preferred to keep it alive though, because he could keep the pressure on the Zerg, and the Zerg's going to feel like a little bit of freedom to do what he wants now for a bit. And that's unfortunate. But so in other words, it ends up being kind of even, really.
It was 6 drones plus really, really good scouting information out of that. He saw the lair finish. He saw the Roachworn was already down.
Saw third.
Yep, he saw the third on the way in. So he's got another Oracle following the same path in, checking up on the third. Looks like he's actually going to pick on the third a little bit.
Crawler's not here. There's no queen either. There's no creep spread down here. This is going to do a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, another 6.
Oh, that's...
Okay, it's there, but now he can actually ignore it, get a couple more, and then leave. Yep.
Wow. 9 kills on that.
Yep. That brings it up to a total of 16 drones killed off, which on a 3-base Zerg, that can be replenished really, really quickly.
Yeah.
So,
but it's not something you want to happen.
Yeah, you don't want it to happen this early on in the game.
To make things even more unfortunate, too, he had just started a round of roaches, basically supply blocked himself, so he couldn't get all those drones back immediately.
Yeah.
Kind of unfortunate.
And no Evo chambers either.
On the other hand, Shadver is not in the greatest place either. You'll notice his gas count has become incredibly high. That's very, very, very bad, unless he's like intending to flood with Templar. Which, as you can see, he's grabbing a base right there. He's getting a few more gateways. He's just like, all that extra gas is a lot of tech that he doesn't have, basically.
He is warping in a lot of stalkers in the just outside of Probe's third.
So we should see basically, he'll have like, once another round of these comes out, maybe 400 to 500 more gas than he wants, though. Like it's a bad sign, but he'll probably compensate for it by going Templar at some point, if I had to guess. That's what most Protosses will end up doing.
I think that if he uses that sentry right, he should be able to.
Okay, time warp. There's Guardian Shield.
Guardian Shield, and then more stock.
And that's pretty heavy pressure right there.
Yeah.
Oof.
Supply blocking probe.
Roach's turn to engage. He focuses him down a little bit.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting here because a full round of roaches came out. There's actually 5 that are building at this third hatch right now. So these are all going to pop out. Looks like Shad's not going to try and pick them off. He's just going to pick off the hatch and run.
I actually think this is pretty good because once that next round arm units is done, this gets a little bit less certain, especially with Hydras now starting to get mixed in there.
Yeah.
And looks like he wants to push the issue, though. More Stalkers being warped in. Still has that Oracle there. Probably should actually utilize that in this attack. He's actually bringing some drones forward to cover, and...
So...
Actually, no, yeah, I don't think this is going to turn out so great for Shadver at this rate.
Really good concave.
Mothership or 2.
And that's rough. You really should rebuild that as fast as you can. That's one unit that you really want to have energy on going forward in this position. But it looks like no, it's just going to be transitioning into... The thing is, it's not too bad for Shadver. He did get the hatch. Yes, he lost the Mothership Core. Yes, he lost a few Stalkers, but he does have a third up. And he's in a really nice position economically.
Yep,
yes.
He's got the third up. He's in a good position economically. He didn't lose the core of his army, which are those Stalkers, because those things are really expensive to reproduce. Whereas losing a Mothership, that happens. Motherships are kind of derpy. But destroying the third for a Zerg player, kind of cutting his army in half at the time, definitely is going to put a hamper in this, or definitely going to slow down Protoss. He's not going to be able to come out storming as hard as he normally would be at this point in the game.
There's actually kind of an awkward problem, though, at the moment for Shadver, and that's those Stalkers just become increasingly less and less useful over time, especially as this...
Yep. I think I lost the Skype call again.
And say that, especially with the Hydras, because Stalkers just die well, gateway units in general die so quickly to Stalkers, and if they have that Roach line in front of them, they tank for they will be tanking all that damage and adding DPS. So the Roach Hydra is really good against a primarily gateway heavy army.
Right. And he's trying to extend their usefulness a little bit into the mid games, grabbing Blink, starting to get Immortals, and he's getting that Robo Bay up. He's trying to buy himself some time with some Zealots. I think this is a pretty good play.
And he's got one Immortal out, and that's gonna. Oh yeah, you just said that. But yeah, that's gonna do add a lot of nice DPS to his army. Excuse me.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
And I was gonna say that Blink is really nice against Roach Hydra also. I would say because just if he's got good control, he'll be able to kind of circumvent a lot of the DPS of those Hydras.
So actually, I do want to point out that Shadver is getting a lot of work done with all the little mini attacks that he's doing. So like those 2 Zealots killed off 3 drones just on their own. So far, in the workers tab, we've got 31 workers killed by Shadver.
Jeez.
Which is the workers tab?
Control R is the one that I use.
Yep. I was going to say alternatively, just looking at the unit guy, you can see he's actually got right now more probes than probe has drones. Don't try to say that too fast, by the way, or bad things will happen to you. But yeah, basically right now he's in a little bit of a rough position economically, which all that means for Shadver is that he's getting up to that big economy, and he's going to have the Dream Army soon. He's going to have the Dream Ball, which is...
Now, to be fair, though, I think if they were to engage right now, I think Probe, if he gets good engagement, has the advantage and he has upgrade advantage.
Extended Thermal Lance is actually a little bit of ways away still. He's got a slight upgrade advantage that may actually occur during this fight if
Probe
this starts.
Does want to take this fight. He's pushing.
Oh, he's just starting a Colossus now. So he doesn't really
has one in the army.
Let's see if that's going to be enough. This is a really awkward place for the Zerg to fight, though.
Yeah, that's a bad.
He's going to spread out. He's trying to
himself against the wall. He's not going to get a good concave on that, especially with those force fields coming down.
He's trying to focus on the Colossus, moving Colossus back. Very nice move there.
Yeah. Shadver's doing a really good job of using the Stalkers to shield the Colossus from the Roach Hydra party.
Roach Hydra party.
So, but a lot of the Hydras survive, and that's actually a good thing because that's really the core of your DPS. So Probe only needs to worry about the cheaper Roaches, replacing those, using them for, again, as tanking. So that was actually not too terrible for Probe.
And he's actually getting back to his base at a very good time because here comes a bunch of Zealots to try and attack this fourth base, and that's going to get shut down almost immediately. Yeah. Will he be able to get the hatchery? No.
Oh.
There's not enough DPS in those guys, especially with only the level 1 upgrades. They're not going to be hitting near as hard as they do when they have +2 or +3.
Really should check up on this ridge for this pylon, though.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
I was going to say putting 5 spine crawlers there will probably solve the problem too, but still want to take care of it.
Yeah. But that does work.
That's okay. As soon as he gets Overseers, this leftmost spine crawler might... I think it's a little bit far, but it might be in range to pick that off. But it doesn't look like we have any Overseers or anything.
Shadver's at 2-0 right now for upgrades, and Probe is at 2-2. So Probe still has the upgrade advantage, but I think right now Shadver's getting starting to get the compositional advantage. Just because those Colossi will just wreck this composition. Here he comes. Oh, he's taking down the robotics bay.
And this is actually a really good move in here.
This is really smart.
Yep. Comes in, snipes the Nexus, and moves out.
Yep. Really well played. Oh, but
so actually, I think that was intentional.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that was intentional. He stopped a portion of his army, let it get trapped. And that's slowing down the bigger push. So
he lost that.
Pull back and regroup.
That third, or his fourth. I mean, during the middle of all that, Probe lost his fourth with all the spines. And he's getting corruptors now.